Do you want a cab? No, I'm parked on a double yellow. If they've clamped me, James can send someone to get it out. That's what having a job means, doesn't it? In the event the car had not been clamped, Isabel drove fast and dangerously through the traffic. Her sense of dissatisfaction a hazard that other drivers had to reckon with. She was rich. She was meant, she knew it, to come out on top of the tree, yet somehow she had ended up picking the wrong guy. There were many qualities she admired in James Morton. He was tall, that was a start. She had always preferred tall men. And he was a kind man, who had done his best to humour her over the 6 years of their marriage. At the time of their wedding, she had thought she was in love with him, and she probably was, but now she was looking for more. When she had decided first to come to England and then to stay, when she had cast her determined eye on James Morton, one of the eligible bachelors of his day, when she had devoted herself to Morton's emerging political career, she had done so, not so much because she was ambitious for him, though she was, but because she was ambitious for herself. One day she wanted to be able to call up her crummy folk back home and tell them, guess what? That she'd made it all the way from the smokestacks of Trenton, New Jersey to Downing Street, London. In her father's dreams, she saw herself installed at number 10 itself, a 20th century Lady M, dispensing patronage and influence in her own inimitable way. More prosaically, she would have settled for number 11. After all, the role was not without precedence. Hadn't Jenny Jerome once considered the most beautiful girl in Philadelphia married Lord Randolph Churchill? And hadn't Randolph Churchill been at the age of 35, the youngest ever Chancellor of the Exchequer? Well, she thought, as she turned into Beauchamp Place, it didn't look as though she was going to make it to Downing Street in any capacity whatsoever, unless she decided to become a tea lady. James Morton simply didn't have what it took. That was the sad conclusion she was forced to. He had been in politics now for almost 14 years. His constituency down in Berkshire was one of the safest in the country. His party credentials were impeccable, both his father and his uncle having been Conservative MPs before him. The galling thing for her was to see others whom she considered less intelligent and less qualified overtaking James in the race to top the greasy pole. What he lacked, she supposed, was the killer instinct, the urge to succeed at almost any price. If you didn't have that in politics, you had nothing. Isabel Morton was no slouch where self-analysis was concerned. She didn't need long sessions on the psychiatrist's couch to learn that if there was one commodity which she herself possessed in abundance, it was precisely the one that her husband seemed to lack. The killer instinct, the urge to succeed. Down at the far end of Beauchamp Place, she pulled abruptly onto the pavement in front of a pretty Georgian-fronted shop, where a range of chintzy fabrics was displayed in the window, and an elegant hand-painted sign proclaimed Isabel. This little venture had netted her, she estimated, as she trotted up the steps, profits well into 5 figures. And it had only been going for 3 years. That was what drive and determination could do for you. Isabel's, under her vigorous direction, had virtually cornered the market, as a purveyor of high-priced materials to high-priced salons. Isabel Morton had, moreover, discovered in herself a talent for interior design. Nowadays, among the rich and super-rich, having a drawing-room arranged by Isabel was like having a Chagall or a Matisse on the wall. In fact, the two very often went together. "Hi, girls." She breezed into the room, not an absentee landlord, more a visiting potentate. "What's new?" The girls were 3 sweet-looking but hard-as-nails Japanese, all in their early 20s, and hand-stolen by Isabel from competing establishments. "I'd never employ English girls," Isabel had once confided to Patricia. "They're lazy, they're dirty, and they're usually dishonest." The senior of the 3 Japanese, Chiku Muramatsu, jumped to her feet, pressed the tips of her fingers together and bowed. The 2 others followed suit. Isabel waved them back to work like waving a puppy back to its basket. The place was busy, though not yet frantically busy, since Christmas was still 38 shopping days ahead. Isabel didn't mind so much about having a full store. The place was classier when it was emptier. She wasn't running a penny bazaar. In any case, the people who looked in off the street were not normally the big spenders. The rich and super-rich didn't come to see you. You went to see them. On such occasions, she would take one of the girls along. She would get the business, the girls would do the donkey work. It was a good combination. She walked straight through the shop and up the stairs to her office on the first floor.